Hey Zippy, what's up?
And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock. It is Tuesday, April 30th. I am Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Eric Lindquist. We are brought to you by Sleeper. We got another 3-game slate ahead of us. Knicks and Sixers, Cavs and Magic, and then finally we have the Pacers and the Bucks. I like this slate. I kind of like it a little bit more than yesterday, although boy, oh boy, am I afraid for what I have at the top. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. What's up, man?
They call that in the business foreshadowing. So a little bit of a teaser, if you will. Looking forward to that. You had some really good lineups I was looking at last night in the $20. I thought you had a pretty good crack at it, and then Larry Nance. I mean, that I'm so happy that the Pelicans are no longer a part of our lives because this JaVale Larry Nance experience for 6 games of that shit. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I'm glad that we're all ridding our hands of that filth. So looking forward to today and all days that don't involve the Pelicans.
Yeah, picked up the Prize Picks dub yesterday. 4 in the top 1%, finished 24th. I'm hoping I can carry that momentum into today, but if I do, it's not going to be on the back of the Philadelphia 76ers because they are basically not in my lineups. Go Knicks. Bing bong.
Yeah, I bet all the Al Horford unders in all of the land and was smashing after he had 2 rebounds and nothing else in the first half. That changed pretty quickly. Thanks a lot, Kristaps Porzingis. So do you think Zinger comes back in these playoffs?
Yes, but that is not going to be anytime soon.
Yeah, I think you're looking at 2 series potentially. Like, at least the East is down. You probably get the best player remaining in the Eastern Conference out in this round potentially. I mean, 3 cracks at it here for New York. So with Joel Embiid not there, I mean, it's still something where I think the Celtics are probably running pretty good with no Giannis, no Lillard, no anything there. I think Indy or New York is a really, really good draw for them after this. So Ollie doesn't have a ton of ramifications as long as he gets back to the finals, but I was at least thinking about taking some stands on some Western Conference futures as a result, but didn't end up pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they've got enough time to get right. I don't think it matters if he's back for whoever they face, whether it's Cleveland or Orlando. They'll be sizable favorites in that series, even without Kristaps Porzingis, no matter which team that is. As long as they just hold serve there, I think the goal is get him back and healthy for the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be my intention out of all of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's feasible based on, just what we're talking about, 2 weeks from now, basically. Got some time. Obviously it'd be great if the Celtics could just run right through it in round 2, but they probably go 5 games, 6 games.
Well, the real positive, I think, out of the last 2 months of the season for them, because they basically had the entire home court wrapped up well ahead of time, was they were able to get minutes to Luke Cornett. Like, we got to see quite a bit of Luke Cornett, and he's not a good EPM basketball player. Estimated win share is like 1.6, I think, which is like middle of the road in the NBA. But like, he was competent enough at times where if you need to fill some of those minutes, you can play 32, 34 minutes of Horford. And, Horford is still going to be a 75th percentile type basketball player. So it doesn't hurt them a ton here now, but come the NBA Finals, you definitely want Kristaps Porzingis out there on the perimeter knocking down shots, because he has been incredible and just an incredible addition to this team. It usually helps to have a 7-3 guy who shoots threes. I've heard that before.
Does not hurt. Speaking of incredibly tall guys that do shoot threes, Joel Embiid, 10,900 today. Most expensive player on the slate. Next closest guy, Jalen Brunson, $1,400 cheaper. They're the only two guys north of 9K. And then we have an absolutely loaded 8K range. Halliburton, 8,700. Siakam, 8,600. Middleton, 85. Maxey, 84. Banchero, 82. And Donovan Mitchell, 8,100. Who is your preferred pay up option for today?
Chris Middleton. If we're going
agreed.
8K and above, like we're just going to Chris Middleton here. You have no Lillard. You have no, it's just ridiculous. And I think one of the interesting parts about this slate and trying to break it down is we don't know all of the rotations and all of the usage and everything based off of last game because Bobby Portis decided to be a bad kid after like 7 minutes. So it kind of puts a little bit of a wrench into it. And if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge it. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. Chris Middleton, he is 8,500 small forward eligible. I feel as though that's just like impossible for me to get away from in an elimination game here. We've always worried about what those minutes could be for Middleton in certain spots. I am pretty safe in saying that no matter what, down 15, down 20, you have Chris Middleton into this game in the fourth quarter. He's played 40 plus minutes in back-to-back here. Hasn't shot the three particularly well in this series either. He is 6 for 20 something. I mean, it's just been a ridiculous run here. 0 for 4 last time out. Had the one game 4 for 9, but 1 for 3, 1 for 4. I think there's a massive ceiling here waiting in the wings. We had 29 shot attempts in game 3 for him. I expect something more similar to that and that 64 ball he put up on DraftKings than anything else here. Indy, the pace is up. Everything seems to check out for Chris Middleton today.
No disagreements. Chris Middleton is in 76% of my lineups. He is my second most exposed player right now. Even when I rerun, that's not going to change. He is the pay up du jour for me, especially at 8,500. I expect him to play north of 40 minutes. I think he clearly looks like the top guy. I have very little else to add for that one. So I guess my question is, who's number 2? Are you following the ownership of Brunson or do you have a different guy? Because I have a different guy.
I do too, Tyrese Maxey. I'm playing a ton of him at 8,400.
Okay.
This 8K range, I mean, Halliburton, don't mind if you just want to stack up this game environment, Indy, Milwaukee. We're going to get to some of those value pieces. With Portis back in the mix, it does dilute it a little bit where, it's going to be more Indy side of things where I'm getting to quite a bit of Miles Turner, but the ownership's there, getting to a little bit of Pascal Siakam. Now that the usage is kind of flip-flop between the two, we saw Halliburton the last two just really, really start to emerge. And we've seen Pascal Siakam, the usage now fall over the last two. I think it's going to fall somewhere in the middle in most game scripts here. And on the road, it had been more Pascal Siakam for whatever it's worth. So 8,600 for him. I don't mind that. But Tyrese Maxey is at 10.6% ownership. And I'm not saying that, I mean, we see the plus minus. We know how good Philly's been with Joel Embiid on the floor and off the floor. He is going to play basketball today. I'm sure his leg will fall off. It is what it is. But like, if he's not being as effective, because he was not extremely effective offensively there, 7 for 19, 1 for 6, looks very labored out on the floor. You got to put the ball in Tyrese Maxey's hands and let him do like everything else here. 43 minutes, potentially just trying to go at Jalen Brunson, who's probably the one weak link you have defensively there at the moment. If they rip DiVincenzo off the floor, that is, because that's kind of what happened the last two. But I am very much in the camp that Tyrese Maxey might have to do more than what we think. And I'm getting the huge ownership discount on him. 8,400, 10.6% ownership. Is it ideal that he's sharing a floor with Embiid for like the entire game? No, it is definitely not. But I'm getting such an ownership discount on him that it's hard for me not to want to be overweight to that.
I do not have a single share of Tyrese Maxey right now.
Why?
I also don't have a share of Paolo Banchero, Pascal Siakam, or Tyrese Halliburton at the top. I have one lone share of Joel Embiid. My guy's Donovan Mitchell.
Oh boy.
8,100, pulling a little bit of love, but that price to me is appealing. I'm not entirely sure what's driving everything other than the fact that I'm just getting to Cleveland in abundance. I'm also getting to his backcourt mate in Darius Garland, which we'll talk about in a bit. Got a little bit of Karis LeVert. Seems like the backcourt is where I'm going here for Cleveland. I assume one of these two guys does a decent job, probably whichever one doesn't get the Jalen Suggs assignment.
Yeah.
I think Mitchell's probably playing 39 or 40 minutes here. They're back at home. if they want to save their season, they probably want to do that by winning at home and not losing and going to Orlando with their season on the line. Am I nervous a little bit about how this might be the last game Donovan Mitchell plays in Cleveland in their uniform? Yeah, I am, but I'm hoping that he staves that off today. Point guard, shooting guard is also helping out a little bit. I think shooting guard's a little weak today. I think that's what's driving me most to Donovan Mitchell being my second most frequent pay up option.
Are you a little bit worried? Well, again, you're getting him back home, and 8,100 is a low tag for Donovan Mitchell. Are you at all worried? Because I feel like Orlando has really locked in what they want to do from a rotation standpoint now. And it kind of freaks me out that I know that you're looking at two extreme examples. I mean, there was not a competitive game played in Orlando. And so I don't even know really who the closing lineup for Orlando is going to be. I think that that's kind of in flux and tough to figure out. But I do think with Donovan Mitchell out there, you're getting a ton of minutes, but they've started to lock in first through 3.5 quarters of rotations here for Orlando, and defensively figuring out, hey, all right, Markelle Fultz, we found exactly how we're going to utilize you. 17, 19 minutes for him in those back-to-back games. That is more defensive ability out on the floor than what you're getting with Cole Anthony, who's able to play a little bit more off ball. Gary Harris in that starting lineup has been playing pretty darn well both sides of the floor. I mean, just sit in the corner, don't shoot. That would be ideal for Gary Harris. But I'm worried that they started to figure out how they want to defend Donovan Mitchell, and it's kind of letting anybody else beat them.
Yeah, I'm not confident in it. I love Orlando's defense. I think Suggs is fantastic. Yeah. I'm just trying to bank on defending their own home court. And if they do that, I think one of Mitchell and Garland have to be the dude that's doing it. What happened?
I have the worst run. Does anybody want to buy my dynasty team from me? I can't do this anymore. Mike Trout diagnosed with a torn meniscus in his left knee. What the hell? Yeah.
I played 48 minutes on a torn meniscus. Who's subbing? I thought you were reacting to news that didn't come out 10 minutes ago. So
it just says Mike Trout diagnosed with torn meniscus and left knee. It just popped in. I didn't see the Mike Trout to undergo knee surgery. I didn't see that alert come through.
I thought you were about to be like, Embiid's out or something like that.
Shane
That's not
Bieber,
actually happening, guys. Don't think that you just heard that.
Shane Bieber out for the year. God, that Atlanta pitch. I'm in absolute shambles this year. Absolute shambles.
What do you want to do with these Indiana guys? Halliburton and Siakam.
I'm holding hands with the field. I don't really have any idea. Obviously, going up against Milwaukee here, this is defensively not adding a whole hell of a lot. But obviously, Indy's the one who brings the pace. It's not going to give them like upgrades as much. But I find it hard to. I just can't stomach a fade on a Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton right now. I wish I could have a stand on one of them. I wish I had a leg to stand on. Don't make a joke. But I absolutely want to do something about it. But right now I have 22% Pascal Siakam. I have 14% Tyrese Halliburton, which is like nearly identical to the field on both of them. I'm just jamming Chris Middleton. I'm playing more than the field, nearly 2.5x Tyrese Maxey. Not a lot of Embiid at 10-9 now that the price has gone up, and center is just all the Miles Turner and all the lands. So that's the Indy guy that I am playing in, just jamming along with everybody else in the entire world. But I don't really have a stand on either of them.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have any. I do have 28% of Brunson, which is a little bit under the field, but I think that he looks like the other best guy that you can get to at the top. Just so happens he's already 40% owned, so it's a little bit more limiting for me. And the price tag is real, but I can't avoid the only guy on the Knicks that can create his own shot. How do you feel about him? Is that an over the field, or is that just I'll be right around the field here?
For who?
Brunson.
Brunson? No, God, no. I'm under on Brunson by significant margins. I have 10% Brunson.
Olrat wants to know if you have any awesome bets tonight. Thanks for the super chat, Olrat.
Of course I do, my friend. My favorite 14.5 PRA for Wendell Carter Jr. Talked about at the closing lineup for Orlando. I don't really know what to make of it. I do think, though, 14.5 is a pretty low number. Jared Allen, we got the news that he was dinged up and going to be questionable. I assume that he plays. If he ends up not playing, you're going to get line movement going in the direction of Wendell Carter, Evan Mobley, and those guys. So if you want to take a little bit of a stab, I think they're pretty close to efficient, if not a little bit undervalued there. And so Mobley and Wendell Carter specifically, I saw 8.5 rebounds, kind of the number for Mobley. That would definitely have room to grow without Jared Allen on the floor. But in the event that he ends up limited, there's opportunity there. This isn't an elimination game, although both teams, I do expect them to play their typical rotations here. But Wendell Carter Jr., 24 and 25 minutes. Who do you think closes for Orlando in a competitive game? Because we really haven't seen that this entire damn series.
Suggs, Franz, Paolo, question mark. Whoever's playing the best. Gary Harris and whichever guy they think is going to do the best down the stretch, whether that's Isaac, Wendell Carter Jr., or Mo Wagner. I think a great Carter, defense or offense matters in this scenario.
Right. And Mo Wagner also, I mean, he's been better than Wendell Carter throughout this series, just about by any metric. But Wendell Carter, again, there's a floor, I think, of 24 and before injury. I'll throw that out there because we just saw it with Porzingis, and then Horford plays 34 minutes. But like, I think Wendell Carter, 24 minutes for him is like your floor based on the last two games, completely out of whack. And then there's probably 28, 29 minutes upside, depending on who's playing the best and who they want to close with, and barring a lot of other things. I don't know if it ends up being Isaac or Wagner. As you said, question mark at the 4 or 5, I think. You probably just slide Suggs to play the lone point guard out there. Gary Harris, I don't know. Franz Wagner and Banchero for sure. So 3 of them are pretty locked up, but I think Wendell Carter has 28, 29 minute upside here if he's playing well and has it going. So 14.5 PRA is looking pretty darn tasty as is, especially if you got a limited Jared Allen, which again, I expect him to be playing and be fine. But Wendell Carter Jr., that's my favorite bet of the night.
Jordan Klein, member for 37 months, said, who's the guy Eric is jamming really hard? Eric, thoughts? Nothing? I guess we're going to try to keep that guy's name a secret. We don't want to dox him. That's fair. Darren Unger, top FanDuel plays at each position. That I could help you out with. Let's walk through the first spot, which is going to be point guard. That's going to be, for me, Miles McBride, with Darius Garland and Jalen Suggs being close seconds. I'll let him have a couple sips of beer while he is sad that he got outed. Shooting guard is going to be Chris Middleton, Malik Beasley, Jalen Suggs, Max Strus all look all right. Small forward is also Chris Middleton and Malik Beasley, so use them in whichever position you're looking for. Then Franz Wagner, looking pretty good, about as good as Beasley for me. Power forward is unequivocally Bobby Portis at the top end. Franz also works at the 4, so does Aaron Nesmith. And then center, probably not using Portis there. You're probably using him at the 4. Brook Lopez, to me, is the best center that you can get to on FanDuel. Any other FanDuel thoughts, or did I cover that for you? How about thoughts here on the most important thing that we do, and that is figuring out who is the exotic play of the night. You should smile more. I don't Smiling know would help.
Normally I do. Normally I'm having fun. Normally I'm a fun guy. I like the game of basketball. There's some things you might have to ask me. I don't know.
Wait, was that Forrest Gump?
That was Kawhi.
Jadnai.
It's pretty good.
Who you got?
That's pretty good. Jordan Klein thought it was good once upon a time. Maybe his thoughts changed about such things. This is a pretty terrible exotic slate, if we're going to be honest. Like, I don't feel great about anything. I think it's just kind of a by default play. Franz Wagner. I don't know anybody else that I would really want to play in any drastic capacity. Like, we're talking 10% or more. It's Franz Wagner just by default. So congratulations. You're the exotic play of the night.
Yeah, I mean, Franz Wagner is also my answer, sort of by default. I don't really see what else I could do here. 7,100 Had a really nice game 4. Hopefully he can continue that again in game 5. He's in 28% of my lineups, just north of the 24% ownership that we are currently projecting. Franz Wagner, come on down. You are the consensus white of the night.
God, the horrible bit. Only one player it could possibly be, and we still continue on with it. That's just incredible producing by Jordan Klein.
Look, on the as the playoffs go on, we're gonna have to be picking out of guys that get 2 minutes of blowout run when the game is over. The end of the bench type guys. It's gonna look like college basketball all over again.
Well, I mean, it'll be. I'm trying to think of like the Celtics. I mean, you have some options, but it'll be like Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett. It'll be Denver. You definitely have some options on Denver that are prominent. So I guess there's that. Other West Conference teams, Minnesota, Luka Garza. That'll be enjoyable. I mean, what are we even doing here? I think that's all I got for you.
Well, if we run out of things, if we run out of exotic options, we might have to put that one to bed. Maybe we can look at OddShopper options. Maybe we can give out the best OddShopper play of the day. You guys can sign up for OddShopper by clicking the link in the description or the one that inevitably pops up in chat. We've got everything you want, either at pick'em sites or at actual sports books. You can shop the lines, make sure you're getting the best price, take a market-based approach to beating the books. We provide expected value. We provide expected win rates. We have pick'em site optimizers, underdog, prize picks, DraftKings pick 6, sleeper, and more. Sleeper, obviously the sponsor of this show. And then you get it on the sportsbook side, where we have odds boost calculators and parlay builders. You can one click, immediate shot right over to the sportsbook to get that line in. Check out the OddShopper rating. If you're north of 0, you might want to take that. If it looks good to you, it looks good to us as well. OddShopper can be signed up using the link in chat. Who are your GPP plays for today? Who are you taking pretty big stands on? I've got a few, and we've only talked about one.
You teased it on the front end of the show, so I feel like I want you to start today because there are some fun ones that I think you could be throwing out there. I have one guy specifically that it's just like, I can't believe I'm going to do it, so I'm just going to hold my nose and click on the button. But I want to hear yours first for the first time.
Number one guy for me is going to be Aaron Nesmith. He plays an absolute ton. The position, the price, both fine. I don't really see any path to him not being on the floor other than foul trouble. I've got his target score around 30. I think that's very manageable for a guy that can play, 36 plus. I have him in for 38. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 40 in a closeout game. Just like the positionality of everything for Nesmith. And the fact that it's in the late game makes me feel a little bit better. Helps for swaps if anything weird happens. Second, Brook Lopez. I have a massive stand on Lopez today. 6,200. They don't have Dame. They don't have Giannis. I think we see Brook Lopez look to be more like what we used to know of Brook Lopez, getting post touches if he can, because he's got a pretty nice size advantage in this matchup, especially if he gets situations where Miles Turner isn't on him. I think Lopez can do a little bit more work in the paint. He's my second most exposed guy. We mentioned Middleton. I mentioned Garland earlier. Whether it's him or Mitchell, I prefer it's both, but Garland at 6,100. I went 36 minutes. That's an oddly low total for a point guard of his capability in a playoff game. If he has any ability to go north of that, you're going to feel even better. I think people are sleeping on him probably a little bit. Not that the ownership's not there. It's a 3-gamer, but Garland and Mitchell, those 5 guys that I just mentioned are all in 25% or more than what the current public ownership is. And then the flyer that I have here is going to be Miles McBride at 4,100, currently projected for 9% ownership. I've got 28%. I think there's a path to additional minutes because of the lack of Bojan Bogdanovic. They don't seem to be super fond of Dante DiVincenzo in this series. I think if he's shooting well, he could play 36 plus, and that would pinch McBride. But if the shot's not falling, they seem to have no issue going to McBride defensively late in the game. Looks like a pretty nice option to get to in GPPs if he's only 9% owned.
That's who I was alluding to when I was saying you hold your nose and you just click on it. Miles McBride been playing the lion's share of minutes as opposed to DiVincenzo. Somebody in the chat put, if he's knocking down shots, he'll play more. Yeah, well, then he better knock down shots because Miles McBride is kind of doing that so far. Back-to-back games, 5 for 9 from 3, just being effective in very limited touches. Again, 7 for 14. Not a lot of shots to be had when you have a dude with like infinity usage coming from Mr. Jalen Brunson here at the moment. I don't know what the 76ers do to really get the ball out of Brunson's hands. It's not really something you can do because Brunson just dribbles it up, makes moves, and goes. And like, it is what it is. You either help off of it and you rack up assists if you're Brunson. But I'm going to be shorting Brunson here. And I think for me, Miles McBride having a good game or Dante DiVincenzo, I think it's pretty easy to be overweight to both of them in some capacity with the way that I'm building out my lineups. I'm obviously going to be cheering for the Knicks to win. God forbid I want to watch another game of this series here at the moment. But OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, we're pretty confident about those minutes. We'll see what happens with Mitchell Robinson to some extent here. Questionable. I expect him to be back, but Precious Achiuwa would potentially step into some more minutes for me. And, you know, we saw 20 last time out. Somebody that keep your eye on, but I'm pretty confident that at 4,100, Miles McBride's a really good type play, sub 10%, a little bit higher optimal percentage. I think my favorite GPP play on the entire slate, though, is Evan Mobley. So he's kind of my Donovan Mitchell. You're going the Donovan Mitchell route. I'm jamming Evan Mobley. I don't know what to make of this injury. I'm assuming Jared Allen plays. And if Jared Allen doesn't play, you just jam Evan Mobley as is. We probably have a discussion about Tristan Thompson or Damian Jones. Probably Tristan Thompson, I think. Come playoff time would probably be the guy who'd play a couple of backup minutes. And just because it's like the floor, I think there's something there. But I think Evan Mobley could end up playing minutes at the 5 here where Jared Allen isn't on the floor. And that's pretty appealing in this matchup. Pretty appealing to have Evan Mobley with some of his numbers and projections across the entire industry right now. I mean, 8.5 has been the rebound prop pretty much all day long. 15.5 points. Jared Allen actually has a higher points prop for him. So if you were to rip him off the floor for a couple of minutes, Garland benefits, Mobley benefits, Donovan Mitchell benefits a little bit, but like I'm a pretty big fan of jamming Evan Mobley today with the hopes that you get Allen limited.
I took the under on Evan Mobley on Prize Picks. I hope you do not succeed. Joel Embiid listed as available to play for today with his migraine, Bell's palsy, knee injury. I mean, everything. He's got a lot of maladies right now. And he's playing anyway.
Well, this is probably an interesting thing. I know this is way, way, way nearsighted, but the Olympic team, Joel Embiid probably just going to be like a 12-minute, 14-minute guy off the bench. That'll be enjoyable.
If he plays.
Yeah, you might have to just trim him and bring in, who would I even want as the next guy? I mean, you've got to bring in some
Mitchell
kind of
Robinson available to play.
Okay, good.
I didn't want to make that change.
I didn't either. Precious Achiuwa, again, banged your head against a wall, 3,700. No, thank you.
Maxey, Lowry, Oubre, Harris, Embiid.
Normies.
Yep.
All Harris right. Minutes are weird.
Ace of Spades hit us with the tiers super chat. So let's hit that one quickly. And I actually ran a crunch for it already. So I have my data. Chris Middleton, Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, and Tyrese Maxey in tier 1. That one could not be much easier for me.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Chris Middleton.
Yep, by a lot.
Number 2, Bobby Portis, Paolo Banchero, Donovan Mitchell, Miles Turner.
Bobby Portis.
That's going to be Donovan Mitchell for me. But Portis is within a fantasy point, so I would go either direction. Josh Hart, Jared Allen, Franz Wagner, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland.
Josh Hart.
I got Josh Hart. I also have Jared Allen within a fantasy point, if that's more interesting to you. Brooke Lopez, OG Anunoby, Isaiah Hartenstein, Dante DiVincenzo, Patrick Beverly, Jalen Suggs.
Brooke Lopez.
Very much Brooke Lopez.
By a lot. 5 fantasy points for me.
Yeah. Aaron Nesmith, Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, Andrew Nemhard, Max Strus, Malik Beasley, Kyle Lowry. That's tier 5.
Aaron Nesmith.
It is very clearly Aaron Nesmith for me. And then finally, tier 6, Karis LeVert, Miles McBride, Wendell Carter Jr., TJ McConnell, John Isaac, Toppin, Connaughton, Mo Wagner.
Wendell Carter Jr. for me.
That would be Karis LeVert for me, which is a blast. Phil Sensig said, build us a long shot FanDuel or DraftKings parlay. It is very not the theme of today's show. So Jordan, go ahead and pull up OddShopper and grab 4 plays that look the best that are underdogs.
Let's do this. Let's do this for the people. Let's correlate something based around a piece of injury news that is still uncertain. I think Halliburton plays. I think Allen plays. But talked about it before. Allen could be limited. I think Evan Mobley double-double in some capacity, maybe even like an adjusted points prop where you rip it up to 20. I think that would make some sense. And then I think probably making more way for Evan Mobley playing the 5. You could probably see more minutes for an Isaac Okoro, George Niang. I think that's more likely than you see like just backup center minutes for, 15 minutes for Tristan Thompson or something like that. I think there's also a way where on the other side of that, Wendell Carter benefits, Paulo Banchero rebounding benefits, Mo Wagner rebounding benefits. Like there might be a way to kind of just single game parlay that where you take advantage of Allen going from somebody who plays 38 minutes to somebody who plays 30 minutes potentially. So maybe a single game parlay to just kind of boost everybody's rebounding point production there.
Ben Shepherd under 0.5 threes, Nick Batum under 0.5 threes pays out plus 640. They are two of the three best OddShopper plays on DraftKings right now. Plus 640 works for you. If you want, you could then add in those are for tomorrow.
And that was a change Indy really liked with Ben Shepherd. He's out there to shoot. He's out there to knock down threes. But, I mean, what is the plus? There's not even, was it major plus money?
Plus 164. It's a 38 OddShopper rating right now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, that's that number. I think you probably are willing to do it. But then somebody's going to come in and say, oh, but he's made 4 games in a row. Yeah. Don't care.
Yeah. Ben Shepherd, 38 OddShopper rating. Nick Batum, 16 OddShopper rating. Again, plus 640 if you parlay both of them together that they both don't make a 3. I like that at plus 640, given, 2 separate games. It's not bad. If you can find a third in that range, I like the idea of like doing a little bit of a round robin. Take your shot on 3 of them if you wanted to.
I like.
The other one is the other one that exists is for tomorrow. You'd be hanging out a Tyler Hero under 4.5 rebounds at plus 110, but that's a plus 1450. 3 pretty sizable OddShopper ratings, all north of 10.
Loved all my pick'em slips where I jammed Tyler Hero unders. They came through without a sweat, and Al Horford I can't even. It's so tilting.
Well, I had a lot of Horford, so I was very happy that went the way that it did. And I'm very happy that I didn't have the 50% of Kristaps Porzingis that I had when I ran the strategy show yesterday morning, because that would have been much worse.
Ooh, that would have been a spicy meatball. It must have been my great analysis that ended up ripping you off of Kristaps Porzingis, right?
We did have some good analysis from you yesterday in regards to what we're about to talk about right now. The pick to blow your ding dong off. Bam Adebayo yesterday out of you ended up being pretty decent. We'll take our flowers whenever you guys want to give them to us. But for now, we're blowing off our ding dong again. We sewed that bad boy on from yesterday, and now we're ripping it back off. Who's the nuke of the night?
Here we go. Let it go. Let it go. There goes my dick. It goes to blow.
Bam ended up working out quite well for you and I.
Oh, buddy, that made me very happy. I needed it because there were some other my lineups did not look nearly as good looking in the post contest sims, so there is that. But I think they're going to be looking pretty great here because this is actually I think he was, and he still is, top play. One of the things that happens when you have blowouts, like you just had basically 4 games in a row within this series. 97-83, 96-86 there, both of those. I guess the game 2 wasn't as egregious, but we haven't seen more than 32 minutes from Evan Mobley in 3 consecutive games. And you know what happens when that occurs? You keep the price where it is. He is 6,700. And I thought when we pulled up everything today, we would find 45% Evan Mobley, but it would appear that he is getting the game environment discount. He is getting he hasn't smashed yet discount here. And sure, the usage is probably harder to come by with Donovan Mitchell playing massive max minutes. And it's going to be more difficult with Jarrett Allen if he's going to be on the floor ad nauseum. But I do think there's a lot of ways where Jarrett Allen doesn't play his full allotment of minutes. I think there's a lot of ways that Evan Mobley is the guy who needs to get involved a little bit more offensively in order to make this ship go. And At sub 7K, I'm getting pretty low salary for Evan Mobley to be able to take this kind of a shot. The boom bust tool friends absolutely loving him in terms of the positive leverage we're getting. 31.9% optimal percentage, only 23.5% ownership here at the moment. I don't see how it's anybody else. Evan Mobley, nuke of the night.
Right team, wrong guy. Bring on Darius Garland for me.
Oh, boy.
6,900 was Darius Garland's salary in game one, down $800. He played 32 minutes, 32 minutes, 31 minutes, and 32 minutes. Although I might add, those most recent games were in a 38-point blowout and a 23-point blowout. I think Darius Garland should be playing 36 minutes today if this is a competitive matchup. I have no reason to suspect that it won't be a competitive matchup. It is game 5. It's a 4-point line. I don't want to make any changes to that. The fact that you're getting $800 off of where he was in game 1 in a situation where you expect him to play more in game 5 than you would ever expect him to play in game 1, and you got that salary discount, Darius Garland's getting slept on for today. He is your nuke of the night.
All righty. I mean, I'm overweight to him. I'm okay with it. I can get to a little bit of him. It's easier for me to land on him than Donovan Mitchell. I have to really force Donovan Mitchell at the moment. I think part of that is just what I'm doing with Maxey, but let me find out what I ended up with here. Donovan Mitchell showing up more now. I'm in the 20s now, so that's useful. I'm
like it.
starting to climb. I'm starting to climb, but haven't quite gotten to where you are with him. But the Garland piece I can definitely get behind because he is undervalued. And again, just because they haven't done it lately doesn't mean they can't do it. And we're getting quite the ownership discount on where this price would have landed him at home in Cleveland in game 1.
By the way, the Magic are going with their standard starting rotation. Suggs, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Banchero, Carter Jr. Shout out to the Magic for getting their stuff in early like they have all year. Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, and Anobi Hartenstein for the Knicks. No surprises there. 6:40, lots of time here. We probably going to run my stuff in a couple minutes, but let's talk a little bit about Sleeper. They are the sponsor of this show. We see them a lot. And I tell you guys the same thing. It hasn't changed. And you should know that I'm giving you the goods because I don't change my spiel trying to get you guys to sign up differently. They have a $500 deposit match bonus. That's the biggest one in the industry. If you're not trying to take advantage of that, if you're in a state where you can sign up at Sleeper, you're just leaving money on the table for yourself. Play through that bonus. If you find out you love Sleeper, great. You've got a bunch of money there. If you find out you hate it, take the money out after you play through the bonus. Head on over to a different site if that's what you want to do. I think you're going to want to stick around. They've got dynamic payouts on their plays. You could 100x some of your entries. Pretty appealing if you want to take some long shots while you're playing through a decent chunk of bonus money. You can see it on the screen right now with my smiling face. Gorgeous. Who wouldn't want to sign up for Sleeper? Click the link in chat or the one in the description of this video. Get up to $500. If you only have $175, they will match with $175. They've got a free square on the screen right now. That's pretty helpful. They run free squares constantly. Those things help you keep your costs down at the sites that you're playing on. Take advantage whenever you can. Sign up for Sleeper. Jacob Dunn. Prediction on Nuggets Wolves series. How many games? 6 or 7? Go Nugs. I mean, that's...
Fuck you. Stop it. Don't do that to me.
I mean, the most likely scenario here is Nuggets in 6 or 7, right?
The most likely scenario is you shut up right now. Dude, you stop talking. Stop.
Okay.
Go Wolves.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're just going to keep talking? Yeah,
go Nuggies.
Yeah.
Go Nuggies.
Oh, chicken nuggies. Oh.
What, you going to say it like that as if chicken nuggets aren't delicious?
They are delicious. I was just giving you shit. I apologize. And I take everything back except for fuck you because go Wolves.
Man, I love chicken nuggets.
They're
I am
delicious.
Absolutely going to get chicken nuggets for my car ride.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, you get some of that fire honey mustard goodness in your life. The barbecue sauce, you just kind of go back and forth between the two. Get the 12-pack. or the 12
What are you making?
nuggies.
Truffle butter, dude? You don't go from one to the other. What are you doing?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I have one with one, and then I have another one with the other one. So it's not
No.
like I'm mixing
You
them.
didn't name the right sauce. You named two sauces that I
Oh,
don't
the
get, and I
Chick-fil-A sauce? You like the
I get
Chick-fil-A
two
sauce?
sauces, and it's neither of those two. That's pretty
Yeah,
hard to
because
do.
you're an absolute loser. So get the honey mustard and
No,
get the barbecue. It's delicious.
get the Chick-fil-A sauce and get buffalo.
Oh, the buffalo is the worst of the sauces at Chick-fil-A by a considerable margin.
No disagreements. McDonald's buffalo sauce, quite a bit better.
Much better.
They have a
Great.
hot mustard at McDonald's. I'm a bit of a chicken nugget connoisseur bouncing
Ooh.
around the fast food joints. McDonald's hot mustard is pretty appealing.
Just give me the pure honey. The pure honey. When you were a kid and you got McDonald's nuggets with the pure
Never.
honey, it was the
Never.
best. Oh, stop.
Never.
It's
Never.
delicious.
Never.
Oh.
Never.
No
But
Chick-fil-A
I'm not a honey
sauce.
mustard
Yes,
guy, so you guys can have it. It's Chick-fil-A sauce. It's Chick-fil-A sauce. You know what?
Oh, thank you.
Honey mustard is perfect for what we're about to talk about right now. I'm fading honey mustard. I want to know who Eric's fading today on this slate.
Oh boy, Jalen Brunson. One of the massive unders. He is sitting at what, 34 and a half, 35 and a half, absolutely everywhere. Jalen Brunson, his usage has been out of control. He's averaging 29 shot attempts per game in this series. I am going to be well underweight to him. He's 9,500 now. I can't do it. I just can't do it at this kind of a number. I have very little Joel Embiid. It would assume just both of those guys, if that whole game could just fall through the earth, except for Josh Hart and OG Anunoby, I would be just fine. Oh, and Tyrese Maxey, of course. But Embiid and Brunson, I have basically none of. So that'll be fun. 10% Jalen Brunson in my first run. Joel Embiid was sitting around 4%. I think I'll get a little bit more Embiid when it's all said and done. I will not get more Jalen Brunson when it's all said and done. So I'm very much siding with Tyrese Maxey. Now I've boosted a little Donovan Mitchell. Going to follow you a little bit on that one. Darius Garland was always eating up a lot of my point guard spots. Jalen Suggs a little bit. He's got positive leverage coming on him. So I think that's just kind of pushing him up my board a little bit, even though I don't love it. I'm a pretty big fan of being underweight to Jalen Brunson. So I'm sure 35 shot attempts, 60 burger incoming, absolute pain and suffering.
My current biggest fade, I have 0. This person is 25% owned, and you like him. I have absolutely not a single share of Wendell Carter Jr.
I don't love him for DFS. 4,300, 14 and a half. I love his points prop or PRA prop. Again, I have him at like 16.8, so it's nothing crazy.
I have him at 18.9.
You have him at more PRA? No, I'm saying that's the PRA line I have for him.
Gotcha. I was going to say, like, I'm well north of that number.
22 and change. So I'm a little bit higher on Wendell Carter for DFS, but he is overowned relative to center, where you have Brook Lopez, Jared Allen, Miles Turner, Joel Embiid. Isaiah Hartenstein even, I think, is probably a better play from a DFS perspective than Wendell Carter at 4,300. I think it's pretty easy to punt in the 5K range ad nauseum with a number of different dudes. We have TJ McConnell yet again on this slate, who is overowned, and we're seeing Ben Shepherd now show up 3,200 for Ben Shepherd, somebody that I ROI boosted a little bit to get a little bit, but TJ McConnell, it's uncomfortable, but I mean, it's $200 more on a slate where we don't have phenomenal sub 5K value. Andrew Nemhard, I think, is probably the one that most people feel comfortable clicking on. He's played really good in this series. Probably the best I've seen Andrew Nemhard play all year at the right time here for Indy. So I'm okay clicking on it, even with the boom percentage as low as what it is. But I am definitely not full fading Wendell Carter, but I will say that I'm not playing him as much in DFS as what I like from a betting perspective.
My current 5 biggest fades are all very similar. It's Wendell Carter Jr., it's TJ McConnell, it's Josh Hart, because it's always Josh Hart for me, Evan Mobley, and Pascal Siakam.
There's just no right tail on 48 minutes, right? When you're already playing.
I gave him 44. Like, I think that's my upper bound in game 5. I could go to 45 or 46 moving forward. I think he's very live for 48, but I can't go more than 44.
Can we have the Malik Beasley conversation? Because I know everybody
I don't.
hates me after a couple of games
Yeah,
ago, but like
I don't know
Milwaukee,
what he's gonna do today.
I I just want to throw darts at a board and kind of decide exactly how I'm supposed to go about this. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to armchair quarterback, victory lap. Oh, I knew this rotation was going to work out this way. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. A lot of times, come playoff time, it's going to end up being hot hand approach. But like, we had 25 minutes for Andre Jackson Jr., and I'm pretty positive that with Bobby Portis out, he subbed in with Pat Connaughton at the exact same time. But like, oh, I am so uncomfortable with Malik Beasley. He played 34 and a half minutes. I'm assuming he starts again. There's no reason that you wouldn't think that he starts here again. I don't know what to make of the minutes here, but obviously the shooting came back and for one night and one night only without Bobby Portis on the floor. But like at 4,600, what are you expecting from him? Because I think he's probably the most uncomfortable guy that I have tons of right now.
I'm dead on with the field, and I hope that that stays there because I don't know what he's going to play because he was a giant negative for the game, even shooting well, closing out the fourth quarter. They could just as easily go. I don't think that Doc particularly likes Beasley. We've seen his minutes already cut before. All it takes is a little bit of good play from Andre Jackson, some good shooting out of AJ Green, and I think Beasley's minutes can go from a in and around 30 expectation down to like 26. You could obviously go to more Connaughton. If Beverly's feeling better, he can soak up additional playing time, or Beasley can shoot really well, and they're already missing two really good dudes, and Beasley plays 36 minutes. I think his range of outcomes is massive. I have very little confidence in how much he's going to play today, so I want to be right around the field.
Okay. Because he also closed and went 3 for 3, 2 for 2 from three.
Yeah.
Buoyed the box score a little bit in garbage time, which, again, garbage time looks different in the playoffs because they still had Middleton out there until the 210 mark. But I've gone back and forth on what I'm supposed to do with Beasley here the entire day, basically. And I'm just kind of landing on, well, I had 40 something percent and just hated it. I think I'm going to end up trimming him pretty considerably when it's all said and done. But he's got positive leverage, which just makes me sick.
You know what else would make me sick?
Honey mustard at Chick-fil-A.
It would, honestly. It absolutely would, because that is a disgusting thing to eat. However, what really makes me sick is the idea of coming home one day and finding out that Amber Heard took a dump in my bed. Who will be tonight's Amber Heard play of the day? Who's taking your dump in your bed?
Evan Mobley. He's in 65% of my lineups. I am pretty convinced that, I mean, we're gonna see more of an offensive role. Also, again, there's a ceiling that exists as far as like what his minutes could be. What his minutes could be if Jared Allen is limited. I keep going back to that, but this isn't an elimination game, so it's back in Cleveland, and we haven't seen those minutes there at 6,700. I just find him inevitable for my lineups today, and it would appear the field just doesn't. So Evan Mobley, he is probably going to take a big dookie all over my lineups when he goes 4 for 12 from the field, 6 rebounds, 35 minutes of just nothingness. That would suck.
I feel like the answer for me is going to be Joel Embiid. He's on a different level when it comes to raw points on this slate, but I hate the matchup. Mitchell Robinson being in, no matter what he's soaking up, that's just another big body to throw around. I don't think that Embiid is going to get better each game that this series goes by. I just think he's going to be a little bit less healthy every single time we see him. But I'm absolutely nervous that it's Joel Embiid. And if Philly is going to, if Philly wins this game, I assume Joel Embiid is a guy that you wanted to have today, and yet he is showing up in absolutely nothing for me, even with that raw point ceiling. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we don't really have a ton of great pay down options. But, I mean, this is a guy that can go out there and just hang 80 fantasy points tonight, shoot 20-something free throws. It could be gross. I'm hoping that he doesn't get the benefit of the whistle and that MSG is rocking against him tonight. Sort of like how I almost said the Spectrum did last game.
Yeah.
That is, it's been a minute since it's been the Spectrum.
Yeah, but it was absolutely the wildest scene. I mean, watching that game and having the volume on was pretty insane to think of who scored if you were looking at your phone at any point because it sounded the same.
I have my final exposures.
I do too. I just uploaded everything.
Yikes.
Yeah, I am really, really going to suck today. So most people would argue that I suck every day. So there you go.
I think you would probably argue that.
I see what you did there. That wasn't very nice.
Wouldn't you?
Dude, love is love. Love is love.
I guess not. Chat, we have 6.5 minutes to go until we get to lock. Drop your questions into chat, and I will remind you, if you have a 1v1 or 2v2, please skip that question and immediately go to stochastic.com. Look in our tools section. We have something called the Player Compare tool. It is free. You could ask your question for DraftKings and FanDuel. It'll show you projections, ownership, boom, bust, optimal, and more. And it'll give you a score for which side of that equation you should be on. Please use that. It would help you out tremendously, and it would save my sanity by a lot. Not to mention, again, it's free. I'm not trying to get you to do anything that you got to pay for. You can just immediately go there, and it works. Oh, time for tweaks now. I just submitted my lineups, but we got to figure out what I'm actually going to get to. I have 5 separate guys in 60% of my lineups. Garland, Lopez, Nesmith, Mitchell, Middleton. Woo. And I have Miles Turner and Bobby Portis knocking on the door.
Okay. I have Mobley, Turner, Middleton, Lopez, now Mitchell. Congratulations to you. Franz Wagner, Bobby Portis, all north of 30. Darius Garland, Miles McBride, just about there.
3 guys, negative 20% for me. Wendell Carter Jr., Josh Hart, TJ McConnell. I don't have Halliburton. I don't have Siakam. That feels like a death sentence. But I guess if I'm going to, have as much Milwaukee as I do, and it's not like I just need the indie guys that go crazy to be Turner, Nesmith, and Nembhard.
I just need Philly and New York to do nothing. I think that's
I need
really
Philly to do extra special nothing. I have 8% of Batum, 4% of Tobias Harris, nothing else from Philadelphia. They need to go out with a whimper.
That would be great. That would be absolutely ideal for me. So I'm with you.
And then I need Anunoby from New York, who I don't think we really talked about, but just playing big minutes, probably going to guard Embiid late. I've got 25% of Jalen Brunson. I've got about 25% of Miles McBride.
OG Anunoby did an incredible job in that fourth quarter on Embiid because he got that 5th early for Hartenstein, and then it was just working, and they just didn't sub Hartenstein back in. I don't think that that's the most likely scenario again, but like, what an unbelievable defender OG Anunoby is.
I'm not seeing any real questions here.
Cool. Let's end the show.
If only.
I think only. We can be done.
Oh, Mike Shriver, this is a good one. Which team are you playing the most of? That is Cleveland for me.
It is Cleveland for me. Very, very clearly Cleveland.
It's Cleveland, Indy, and Milwaukee are all really close for me.
Yeah, to repeat, Cleveland just got drummed back-to-back games on the road in Orlando, where Orlando has been smashing all season long. And we got a discount on all of the tags. And so I guess Mitchell was the one guy who was getting trimmed, no longer getting trimmed, gave him the boost to get there. But I was always getting to insane amounts of Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, a little bit of Karis LeVert as salary relief, but just jamming all these main Cleveland guys besides Max Strus. And so congratulations to Max Strus on 25 points, 5 for 7 shooting from 3 tonight. But I'm very much in the camp that you should be overweight to a team that is now going back to Cleveland with reduced price tags. There we go.
2 minutes, 30 seconds. We will be on playback.tv/stochastic imminently. We're already there now. We've been there for a while, but we will be there exclusively the moment this show ends. Come watch Philly and New York with us. If you get a VIP pass, we have 40 of them to hand out. You can watch along with us all the way up until tip-off of Orlando and Cleveland. Playback's fun, guys. It's a great hang. Greg and I chop it up about all sorts of different stuff. We talked potential trade pieces for this offseason for some of these teams that are going to get bounced. Who knows what we'll talk about today. hopefully we're talking about the New York Knicks playing better than the Philadelphia 76ers, in particular, one Joel Embiid. Do you have any Joel Embiid? Final question for me before we get out of here.
5.33%. I'm playing 150 today. I haven't played 150 all year. I really like this slate. I think there's tons of leverage on Cleveland, and yeah, 5.33%. So not zero, but also not enough to feel good if he smashes.
I feel like Bluto here. 0.0.
There you go. There you go.
That's not great. But what is great, guys, is this slate. I think we've got a good one. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to put this out into the air. This is what I want to happen. If the Knicks win today and the Pacers win today, there is no basketball on Thursday. Can we all cross our fingers and hope for a fun day off during the week? It would be cool. I'm just saying. It'd be cool.
Jordan Klein wants to work. Look at him. Look at how sad he would be. He would be devastated. We wouldn't want that for him.
No basketball on Thursday is the goal. Let's get us into this second round. Let's have some fun. Awesome. Who wins? Knicks, Philly.
Oh, hard not to pick the Knicks here, just going back in with all the momentum. I will go Knicks. I want Orlando, but I feel like Cleveland's going to actually show up today. Obviously, for my lineup's sake, I hope that they do. And then Indy finishes it out.
Yeah, I think the Knicks win today. I have a hard time seeing them dropping this one at home to close out Philly. That would be... I think it would take like an all-time legendary performance out of one of Maxey or Embiid, and probably Embiid. I have been on Orlando mentally for most of this. I hope that they can carry that momentum into Cleveland. That said, I desperately need Cleveland, whether that's Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland or all these other guys. I need Cleveland to play well. So my head is saying Cleveland. My heart is saying Orlando. And then finally, I think Indy closes out Milwaukee here. You might get a gasp out of Milwaukee in that first half, but I think Indy is just going to be too hard to stop. I think they're having a lot of fun right now, and which is like they're just in a better headspace than Milwaukee. So I'm going to bet on the Pacers, and we're going to get no basketball on Thursday. Playback time, everybody. Thanks for being here. Shout out to Sleeper. Good luck. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.